Hello! For my visual storybook analysis, I chose two children's stories, one classic and one a little newer. They were The Little Engine That Could by Waddy Piper and Guess How Much I Love You by Sam McBratney. Let's first take a look at The Little Engine That Could. While this story is a classic, we'll look at the summary first, and then at my two perspectives, which are the historical perspective and the ethical and moral perspective. The Little Engine That Could highlights the efforts of a little boot train whose abilities at first are uncertain. She has no specific assignment other than to help trains in the yard. However, she takes on the task of helping items of a stalled engine to bring them to the boys and girls of the town who lie over the large mountain. One note of interest, just like on the cover, is that the little engine is always shown facing and moving to the right throughout the book, which is a forward momentum. Especially in Western cultures, all the other trains leave or are shown facing left. In fact, the cover gives away the fact that she's made it over the mountain and is facing downward but heading in an easier direction after achieving her goal. Taking a look at the historical perspective of this book. The story was written and published in 1930 by Waddy Piper, which is a pen name for Arnold Monk. It was illustrated by Lois Lenski. Ideas of this story had been around for almost over 20 years. This book that was published is considered a retelling of the story, and the story itself anthropomorphizes items and trains, but the focus is on the abilities and attitudes of trains. At the time, trains were still a huge part of everyday life and travel. They were also a large part of the strength of America, its backbone, and what helped to transform this country into a superpower. Therefore, both adults and kids could identify with this story and its telling, being so familiar with trains and what their functions were. One of the earliest stories originates to 1906, where it was published in a newspaper, and it's a sermon by the Reverend Charles S. Wing from a small church in Brooklyn about having paid off its mortgage after 39 years. So at first it was the little church that could. Arnold Monk then took this story, and then other versions as well that came along, and turned it in 1930 into the story we all know today. What I found makes this story interesting is that it had only been 10 years since the 19th Amendment gave American women the right to vote, which was August 18, 1920. What makes this book interesting historically is that more than just a children's book, it becomes a feminist movement about the roles of women and how valuable and capable they are as contributors to society. The story in the beginning tells of several trains, all referred to as he, when asked to help, who do not have the time, are too old, or too new to help to pull the train's cars, saying they would not pull the likes of you. It is not until a smaller blue train who asks if she can help. One of these male trains says, "I have just pulled a train with big heavy machines. I am very important engine indeed. I won't pull the likes of you." It calls to a time when male roles were dominant and women's roles were less so. Yet the woman, the train, shows her strength and resolve by doing what the others do not, and shows just how capable and useful she is. The little train says, "I am not very big. I have never been over the mountain." But she hooks herself up to the train and she says, "I think I can." It wasn't until World War II that "I think I can" or "I thought I could" turned into "we can do it." The story has a very feministic view, especially for its time, but one of encouragement as well, which brings us to our next perspective. Ethical and moral perspective, this book has a lot to offer. The story is 85 years old, but has stood the test of time due in part to its simple yet powerful message. Believe in yourself. The little engine is just that, little, but that does not mean she is not capable. She expresses concern about the trip, never going over the mountain, but believes she can do it and endeavors to make the effort, using that iconic mantra, "I think I can, I think I can." In the book, when the male trains are all asked, they say no, but the little train comes up upon them and asks, "What's the matter, my friends?" The characteristics are important in this story as well. The little engine is kind, helpful, and she is positive. All the other trains were too busy, but the little blue train finds the time, makes the time to help people who need the assistance. The NEA named the book one of its teachers' top 100 books for children, due in part to its message of positivity throughout the book. The story uses repetition several times, once in a negative tone, but mainly in a positive one. The negative one is when the old train comes up and says, "I cannot, I cannot, I cannot." However, most of the examples are positive, with the "I think I can," "up, up, up," "slowly, slowly, slowly," saying it mainly 3 times. This is clever because of the rhythmical movement of a train. It offers a mantra-like path, persistence, and perseverance to success. The little train does not say once "I think I can" or "up," but several times over and over. Repeating this shows the power of belief that can move you ever upwards, forward, and towards success. Even the words, they're cautious, but they're positive, moving in positive directions. Be slowly, up, I think I can. In fact, today there's a show on called Thomas about a little blue train and his fellow other train who teaches children about character, hard work, and respect. The use of language is also significant. It uses present tense, and the only time past tense is used is after the engine has succeeded, saying, "I thought I could." The words are also typed in a step formation on the easy decline after success was achieved, just like on the cover. One other clever use is the motivators. For children, candy and toys are important as kids. They identify with them and connect to them. As they grow, other items may replace the candy and toys, but the idea of success being sweet and getting what you want can be a trip that is worthwhile, and as long as you believe in yourself, it can be possible. A classic good book of possibilities and positivity. The other book I chose was Guess How Much I Love You, focusing this time on the technical perspective and the ethical perspective of the book. But first, let's take a look at the summary and see what the story was all about. The story is about the love a young bunny has towards another older rabbit and how they each express their love for one another, with the older rabbit's love always being ever more expansive than the younger bunny's. But simply, it is about love between child and parent. The first perspective we will look at is the technical perspective. Looking at the visuals of the book, the first is layout. The pictures are never fully drawn to cover the entire page, only partially. They are left undefined, as if to say there is no finite markers to encapsulate love. It has no borders and cannot be contained. Also, there is a use of objects. While the expressions of love are happening throughout the book, the rabbits also seem to be near a wood of some sort. The objects come from their surroundings. This is how this is significant. A tree, a stump, a fence, all with the same color. The sameness of color ties them together. And these 3 objects, the tree is the most dominant. And when it comes to love, trust is a big part of that. And the word trust is derived from the Old English word for tree. The symbology of these items seems to be important. Trees can also symbolize life, which in this case shows that no matter the state, stump or fence or healthy tree, it is still there, still useful, still guarding. There is a nice balance shot showing this with each rabbit on a side almost mirroring each other. When it comes to color, there does not appear to be much color expressed in the book. However, I believe it is a split complement along with shadings. It is mainly browns and greens with a hint of light blue and variations of saturated colors from the blue, such as a blue-gray. The absence of other colors makes these colors very significant. These dominant colors of brown and green are also earth tones. These tones often create a warm, nature-friendly atmosphere. This can be significant and symbolic by implying warm, safe, protective, and durable meanings. Thus, the pictures of the rabbits being in an area which hints at a wooded location near the countryside. So the layout, the design, the color, the symbology, all very effective. Now we take a look at the ethical perspective. The main theme of the book is about expression of love. Written by Sam McBratney and illustrated by Anita Jerem, each of them dedicates the book to their children, sharing the sentiment of what they helped to create. This book, too, like the last one, has a very powerful message, and was a 1996 ALA Notables children's book. Has sold more than 28 million copies worldwide and been published in 53 languages. And like The Little Tree, the National Education Association named the book one of its teachers' top 100 books for children. The book reaches farther, however, than just two people expressing love. It's about expressing emotion, especially for the adult. It says that they are both male, using he said for both nut brown hairs. It does not specify whether they are father and son, but it seems to allude to this. What is nice about this is that the use of he keeps it general and open to parents, but also guardians, grandparents, etc. Those who are caring for young ones. It's about loving and taking care of someone. One other message it shares is that males can express their feelings without being embarrassed. Throughout the story, the big nut brown hare always responds to the little hare by saying how much he loves the little rabbit. The book concludes with the large nut brown hare expressing his love for the little one by saying, "I love you right up to the moon and back." Again, this book, like the other book, powerful message. It's about love and expression.